Are you ready to rock 2023? It's not enough to have your 2023 goals as far as your marketing goals, your strategic plan. All of those things are important for sure. But how do you feel about yourself as a leader? How do you feel about yourself as a person? And are you ready to face those challenges and not let fear overcome you? Yeah, that's a big one. Make sure you watch this video as I am going to lay out the must-do steps for 2023, a year of growth and success for all of us. Hi, I'm Tracy Crossley. I'm a behavioral expert and author and podcast host. I am the game changer for women leaders looking to reinvent themselves from the inside out. Today, I am talking about next year and what we've learned this year, or I should say, I have learned this year. And I look at myself as a leader who's been around for decades, learning things and sometimes relearning things. So for me, at the end of every year, I do have a ritual. My ritual is to sit and be and decide from there, what is it that I want as my true goals for the following year. Now, a lot of times it's really hard to be honest with yourself because I feel we always want to live to an expectation. And that expectation is usually about what other people want or what other people have found successful. And so we might be a little bit afraid of what we truly want. And so when I look at that, there's definitely things that stand in the way. So I just wanted to bring those up very quickly and address what you can do about them. Number one is comparison-itis. Women leaders, when it comes to focusing on a problem, if you are a problem-oriented person, you are always looking for problems so you can find a solution. But one of the problems is we compare ourselves to other female leaders. If we compare ourselves to someone who's more successful, we may feel their success is unattainable to us. If we compare ourselves and maybe we feel it's attainable, but we're angry because we feel that this person is not as deserving of success as we are. In fact, we feel that we should have her success. Ew, who wants to admit that? No one ever. But these are the things I observe in working with female leaders and in listening to our society and how we look at female leaders. This is an issue to me because if you continue to be in that mindset, then it makes it pretty much impossible to focus on positive movement forward. So when you catch yourself doing that, look at, why do I feel this way? What is my self-worth telling me? Because it's coming from a place of lack and scarcity, that there's not enough and therefore I can't have, okay? That is one thing you want to look at. Well, what is going on inside of me? Not what's going on out here. That's not going to help you. Your self-worth is what we're talking about. So what is it that you do to stand in your own way? Because if you don't believe that you can have what somebody else can have, then you're going to always react in a way that plays very small. So even if you have big goals, you're going to have trouble reaching the ones that are up here. Okay? So that's one. Okay? So the second one is, when it comes to female leaders specifically, a group of them and us getting together, right? So when we get together as a group of leaders, the problem is that once again, we happen to look at other leaders and we don't have self-acceptance a lot of the time. Why? Because we are judging other people. This is different than comparing yourself. This is just flat out judgment. You may judge others harshly. You may feel someone's not competent. You may feel someone has issues that they may or may not have. But what happens is friction, right? And we're not really in a place to support one another when we're doing that. What we're doing is we're creating drama, and drama is a distraction. And we happen to know this when we're doing it, because what we're actually doing is we're playing outside of ourselves this judgment that we have of ourselves. We judge ourselves harshly, and therefore we will judge other female leaders harshly. It makes it very difficult for a group of women to work together toward a common goal that feels good and meaningful as far as the success for each one. Next time you start judging another woman that, let's say, is in your mastermind or in your bigger group or in your business or wherever she happens to be, and look at, okay, how am I judging her? And where does that live inside of me, right? We've always heard that, point one finger, point one back at you. But this is even more. This is about a deeper issue, once again, coming back to self-worth and your self-doubt. Because when you doubt yourself, you judge yourself harshly, and you look for that in other people. Instead of looking for, well, what does she actually do that's well that I have too? Now, there are obstacles to doing this. We can do this for a moment, but to sustain it, you need to look at what is it that actually blocks me from feeling I'm good enough, okay? And that you may require someone to help you with. All right. And then the third one is about prescriptive bias, which we're not going to get rid of it in 2023, okay? But let's try to. Prescriptive bias is something where society has put us as a group of women that would be descriptive. Prescriptive means that we have certain behaviors we attach to women. And a lot of us have interjected these into our mind, and we feel that that is the rules or the guidelines that we live by, but we don't really, because a lot of us are not sugar and spice and everything nice. Sometimes we can be a raging bitch. We could be all sorts of other adjectives, okay, and nouns, but frankly, we are not, let's say, a piece of paper that has outlined with bullet points. Okay, these are the acceptable behaviors. Most of us color outside of the lines. So it is about self-acceptance, right? And the more you accept yourself and you say, okay, I'm not these things, I'm these things right now in this moment, not tomorrow, not the next day. You don't want to do that to yourself, because then you're doing what society does and you're trying to make a little box for you to fit in. You don't want to fit in a box. So it's in this moment, and try to stay in the moment whenever you say these things. When you promise too big and you go too far out, what ends up happening is you feel pressure and you can't live up to it. So it is to stay here in the moment and go, okay, what is it right now that I can say about myself? Well, I feel kind of bitchy because, I don't know, my sprinklers went on and they weren't supposed to go on, and there's a drought, and I don't know. I was just thinking about our sprinklers. So anything, right? Or with your business, oh God, revenue's down towards the end of the year, or maybe revenue's up, but I'm afraid it's going to go down, right? We kind of live in these futurized scenarios that can really weigh on you because you don't have control over them. You don't have control at this moment of what revenue is going to do, but you can do everything in your power, of course, to bring it up, right? But it's the point of how you feel and who you are in that moment, and accepting it rather than fighting it or trying to pretend that you are someone else, because that's what leads to imposter syndrome. And that prescriptive bias, of course, is at the base of imposter syndrome. Well, I'm supposed to be these things, but I'm this here. But sometimes I'm that, but not always. It can make you crazy. And the last thing it does is it interferes with you being a successful leader who can lead other people to basically the heights of their own lives, right? Because that's where we want to go. All right, so if any of this resonated with you, please leave a comment below, and I would love to hear if there's other topics you would like me to cover and speak about in 2023. And don't forget to check out the links below of other ways I'm able to help you to create meaningful success. All right, take care.